quick question.
Yeah.
Service, like when you go to a restaurant or mostly a restaurant when you go out to eat, do you tip well no matter how bad the service was?
20% always, every time.
No matter what.
No matter what.
No matter if they fucking just destroy your order. It's slow. Drinks don't come. 20% across the board.
20%.
Man.
I will say this though, 20% before taxes. If it's after taxes, if it's great service, 20% after tax. If it's so.
All right, man, because I feel a little bit differently about it because Jamie and I were coming back from Aruba honeymoon, and we stopped at our burger joint in the restaurant in the airport, in the Charlotte airport, and the service was super slow. I really think that the waitress forgot to put our order in, and we had to catch a flight to come back home. So we're kind of, and we're patient. We're one of those people, especially Jamie. We're one of those people that are super appreciative of service industry people. I always tip 20 or more %. I usually try to stick somewhere around there, especially if it's good service and it's like a low bill. Like if I'm getting drinks or something like that and we spend like $20, I'll tip 100%. So just, it's $20,
Yeah.
But I feel some kind of way when you have terrible service, your food is late, they don't refill your drinks, they don't at least come by and say, okay, this is what happened. This is why your food is taking a long time. Please be patient with us. I can appreciate that, but when you just don't do any of that, I'm sorry. I feel like I can't give you 20%.
Did you give anything out?
I always tip. I would never leave a restaurant and not tip.
Okay.
And I tipped pretty close to 20%, but I felt some kind of way about it.
Dude, yeah.
I felt some kind of way about it, dude. And I was upset.
Yeah.
Get my shit right. Come on, people. You got one job. No, I appreciate y'all for real. Welcome back. I want to say back to the Alpha Geek Podcast, where we embrace our geekdom and respect everyone else's. If you don't mind, please like and subscribe to the channel. Just one little click for you, but it means the world to us. We're trying to grow the page. You know how it goes down. This is my homeboy Taras Denisenko. What's going on, bro?
What's up? I will now pay more attention to service, and I can't be swayed not to tip. Trust me, I've been there. But,
and some people are just assholes. Sometimes they just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and they're just do not feel like looking in our face, us asking them for more Diet Coke or whatever. And because everyone has a bad day, but but remember, this is service industry, right? And so when people go out and spend their money, they want a certain experience. And
have you ever had have you ever felt like the service was so bad that it was personal?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Actually, I almost got in a fight with a manager at a Red Robin of all places. Dude, they were, because you know how Red Robin's supposed to give you like bottomless French fries, right? Well, I'm a big dude. He was like, all right, let's glove up. Let's do this. Bottomless fries. Wow. I'll take that bet. And the waitress giving me attitude about, bottomless. Okay, they're coming. And, and she was just not saying anything about the fries, but she just had an attitude, short and just had an attitude. So, hey, let me speak to your manager. And he comes in, and evidently they read from the same handbook because he was a dick too. He was an asshole, dude. And I don't know if it was like, I never like to throw like the race card in situations like that, because I know everybody has their personal life. But I couldn't help but feel that, cause it was Red Robin. People come in and out here every day. Hundreds and hundreds of people come here every day. And you were giving me a problem about French fries. I mean, come on. You do burgers and fries, dude. This is so. Man,
I had this one girl. She was. It was in Seattle, and I just finished a long day of coaching. Was tired. I get to the hotel bar. I sit down. She comes over and she's like, "Can I get you anything?" I was like, "Yeah, I'd like to get just a beer, and I'm gonna have a pizza." No joke, dude. Like 20 minutes later, I see her walking back and forth, no beer, no pizza. I'm like, what's happening? So I go to the bar and I'm like, hey, can I order a beer? And I'll go back to my table. So the bartender gives me a beer. Another 15 minutes goes by. She finally brings out my pizza. And I was like, oh, she brings out my pizza and then charges me for 2 beers. And I was like, wait a second. I was like, you didn't bring me out 1 beer. And she's like, yes, I did. And she literally started screaming at me. And I was like, what just happened? And like, I complained to the manager and I was like, listen, she's charging me for 2 beers. I bought the beer from this bartender. I don't have 2 glasses on my table. You didn't service the table. She was relentless. We go to the manager and she continues to be yelling at me. She's like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a liar. This is what I do. And I'm like, oh my God. Do you remember that podcast we talked about short people?
Yeah, well, that was it.
She was short.
Man, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Hey, short people, listen, don't cause fights. Napoleon complex, that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
And no, maybe you're just a little bit more angry because you can't ride the ride like the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know?
Jeez.
Man, be good to your service industry people, and service industry people be good to your customers.
Absolutely. Words to live by.
On the day's podcast, we got a lot to cover. First, we're going to go over Deadpool, the predictions and Easter eggs that we think that some of them we know we're going to see, some of them we think we're going to see and hope to see in Deadpool 3.
Yeah. And all sorts of drama on the Disney front with Bob Iger. Man. Bob Iger, you are...
Oh, Bobby.
You can't, and we were talking about earlier, you can't do anything right. Speaking of can't do anything right, don't mess with X-Men 97.
Yes, X-Men 97. The hopes for X-Men 97 from the fans and from the Disney Plus streaming platform. Can it save Disney Plus? We're gonna find out.
Yeah,
man. And we'll start off with the last one first. X-Men 97. X-Men 97 is like, people were really excited to see X-Men 97, but when the trailer came out, and people got super excited about it. Now, if you haven't been keeping up, X-Men 97 is a continuation of the X-Men animated series from the mid-90s. It follows the major set X-Men, the people we're super familiar with, the Cyclopses, the Wolverines, Gambit, Storm, Rogue, Beast, so on and so forth. And it's a direct continuation of that. If you don't remember how that series ended, Professor X came down with a disease that could not be cured here on Earth. So the Shakar?
I don't remember.
I believe it was the Shakar, the queen of these people. Professor X had a romantic relationship with, and she scoops him up, takes him so he can hopefully be healed. And the X-Men 97 series picks up, same X-Men, same time, but Magneto takes over leadership, or attempts to take over leadership of the X-Men. So, again, a lot of people are super excited about the trailer. There's one part on the trailer of Gambit running, or it's Wolverine running. Gambit jumps on his back and like kinetically charges his claws, which is a dope ass scene. So, and people are just super excited about what could happen and what that could mean for the Disney Plus platform, kind of to get them ahead of the other competitors, i.e. Paramount, Max, and I mean Netflix. That ship sell. You're not catching Netflix, but Hulu and things like that to try to make them a little bit more competitive. So.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I got to go back and watch all the animated series all over again.
Man, it's so
as
good.
We're talking about it, I don't remember. I remember watching it. I just don't remember any of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good. And subject matter, like X-Men almost make the Avengers just look like the cops of the MCU or the cops of the Marvel universe. You know, when we talk about people who really got in there and wanted to do something for a social change, that's the X-Men. You know, I mean, and it's Stan Lee. They even went on, and Jack Kirby. They went on to say that Professor X was supposed to be a reflection of Martin Luther King Jr. and Magneto was supposed to be a reflection of Malcolm X. And while they had a different way of doing things, they still wanted the same things for equality with mutants. You know? So there's always comic books and animated series. There's always been a undertone of touching on social inequality. Yeah. So I hope they continue that. Yeah. Because it's crazy because even 30 years later we're still talking about the same issues in the same way we were talking about back then. Yeah. If not more so in some cases. Yeah.
So. Yeah. To kind of like work off of that a little bit. If X-Men 97 was all built on doing the social, kind of talking about social issues, is Bob Iger or Disney as a whole doubling down on that whole ideology? Like, this is what, because here's the thing that people have been talking about as far as Disney and entertainment as a whole. Entertainment is the thing that leads to potential change because that's what people grow up watching and that's what they see. And so is Disney trying to really get on that to be able to shape society right now?
Yeah, I feel like obviously. Yeah, I feel like the answer to that is obviously, because any messaging or any opportunity that you have to put any sort of messaging in your movie could sway the audience. Because this is what you wanted to do. Like when you're going and you're in post-production and you're putting these movies together and you shoot this particular scene because you want to evoke a certain emotional response. So, and then, a lot of the movies we know that they're meant to do that, be it something minor or something major. So, and then a lot of it is based on the state of the world that we live in. Some lessons that are put into movies, no matter how small or how big, are going to touch the fans, or the in particular fan a certain way based on what that person is going through, in their life. So, yeah, 100%. Now, I guess the bigger question is, does that become dangerous?
I think so.
Yeah.
So here's my thought on this, and there's another guy I've been listening to kind of like made me kind of like convinced me that this thinking was correct. So is Bob Iger really trying to make a change, his career change into politics? Because why would one person go to this length to potentially destroy a company and its legacy if he didn't have an agenda, he himself, to try to run for president?
Man, I never thought of that.
Right?
Is that something that's kind of been in the ether?
Well, yeah. So he came out, I don't know if you read, somebody leaked a release and how they were supposed to be shooting all their movies with the DEI. So but he came out and with the whole thing that happened at the Capitol, or not the Capitol,
the January 6th.
Yeah. So he came out and said that we need to take a stance. Disney can no longer just be an entertainment company. We need to get involved with politics. And it was a leaked video. So people are kind of losing their minds about that, because it's like you're now literally saying that you have an agenda. So even when he says he has no agenda.
Oh man, okay, he has an agenda. All right. So I get that. When you are such a juggernaut, no pun intended, at the way that Disney is, I feel like getting into politics it would be almost a no-brainer. Yeah. But I feel like you can do that without affecting the source material you're putting out. Right. You can do that without affecting Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, everything else that you're putting out there. Yeah. You can still you would make a bigger change putting your money where your mouth is from a political standpoint, rather than trying to put these messages and innuendos out in your movies to try to sway your potential, I don't know, potential voters or potential, I don't. Yeah. Don't put it in a movie.
Don't put it in a movie.
Don't put it in a movie.
Well, and I think that's the uproar, where it's like there's people that are saying like, well, why is he so adamant about it? And just like, if you're making these statements on a corporate level, and then you're speaking out on this thing that happened in January, and then you're also the CEO of this entertainment company, and you're now have this ability to control a certain narrative and sway people's thinking. I don't know. This one guy I listened to, it's and Todd turned me onto it. It was it's called WD Pro, and he's like an investigative. Have you seen that?
I have seen him on YouTube.
Yeah. He's got like investigative reporters and stuff that actually do this really deep dive stuff into Disney. And I'm like, oh my God. And ever since we started this, I'm like, it gets crazier and crazier. I just want to be entertained, but now I'm like getting into all the back end stuff of it.
Yeah, I mean, that is craziness now, but there's still a board of directors in place. There's there's only so much power that can be given to Iger based on what the board feels should be happening and what they vote on as a collective, right?
Yeah.
So, how much, while you're still trying to kind of push some of these agendas over to cinema and entertainment, there should be only so much of that you can do before the board intervenes and say, okay, enough's enough.
Yeah. Well, and one of the board members, she was on CNBC. She was on one of the news networks, and she's totally on Iger's side, and the majority of the board members are on his side.
Really?
Yeah, that's why Nelson Peltz is trying to now he sold off stuff, so I don't know why he's selling off stock. So people are just like kind of mad about that. So there's 3 board members that are on Peltz's side, and everyone else is for Iger.
Really?
Yeah.
How is that? What do these people hate money?
Yeah.
We've seen the potential of Disney, MCU, Star Wars. We've seen the potential. I mean, when you like Endgame, even Spider-Man: Homecoming, and all those $1 billion.
Yeah.
$1 billion. We can make you $1 billion, which is, as a board member, as an investor,
right?
Isn't that what you want?
Right.
or let's fuck up everything and just ride that shit off to the sunset.
Yep.
Man, that's crazy.
So crazy. And now the other thing is, like, with the whole, another interesting thing is, like, they're talking about Disney stocks. And so their earnings call came out and they made a profit. And so the stock did go up, but now they're trying to compare their stock rise to ARM stock, which is the chip manufacturer under NVIDIA, and talking about this huge growth where it grew 56%, whereas Disney stock I think only grew 12%, but they're trying to draw this parallel. And then, like we were talking earlier, is like, why did their stock grow? How did they make their earnings call? Because Iger is cutting everything. He's cutting budgets, like you said the last episode.
So the bottom line, it's an argument that the cut in all these movie budgets is not because they've truly viewed that these movies are costing them too much money. The real end game is to prop up the stock price.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
right?
It's dirty business. But they're in business to make money. It's just his way of doing it I feel like he's going around his ass to get to his elbow.
Right.
Yeah, and you were saying something earlier off air about movies, cinematic movies versus streaming service content.
Yeah. And
how there's a difference between the revenue. Is that revenue viewed differently? So if you go and in the comments, school us on this shit. If you go and have a budget a movie of $200 million, just throwing it out there, and this movie goes out and makes $600 million, which is, still, even in the world that we live in now, in the state of Marvel now, is a realistic number. Is that money? Is that revenue more? What's the phrase I'm looking for? Is that revenue? Does that benefit the company more or less than the revenue from streaming?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that was their big kind of approach on that, where they never talk about profit margin when it comes to movies. They just talk about how much it makes. And so did that movie actually profit? And also, if it does, how many theaters was it in? And I can't remember. There was this guy that had this formula, was like, if the movie had a $200 million budget, it made $600 million, but you had to pay this in advertising costs and
marketing.
Yeah. There's like other costs that they never talk about. Whereas in streaming, they talk about profits. So it's a clear, like, this is what the streaming service made versus what it grossed. And if you're, we all know, like, if you gross this amount, what did you really net?
Yeah. So, sure. So like from a cinematic standpoint, if you have, again, going back to the example I just used, if you have a $200 million movie, what number makes that movie either a flop or a success?
Yeah.
Like, you can do a $200 million movie, the movie makes $300 million, and that's a flop.
It's a flop.
It's 100% a flop.
Yep.
It's profit, it's in the black, but it's a flop. What's the streaming equivalent to that? Is it subscriptions?
Yeah.
Is it viewership of the show? For example, if I guarantee you, if WandaVision goes on and they promote it, people are going to sign up for Disney Plus just because WandaVision is coming.
Yep.
But once WandaVision is over, now what are they watching? The majority of people who are going on these streaming services, what is Disney Plus, $14.99 a month?
I think so, yeah.
You're not going to cancel your membership once WandaVision is over.
Right.
Because it's $14.
Right.
It's like almost like the Planet Fitness model.
Right.
It's like, hey, $10. Shit, fuck it, I haven't been in 3 months.
Yep.
So who cares? Like, I spend this $10 every month.
Yep.
So while on paper it shows, we're making money, is that a successful model?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, and I mean, they're trying to probably follow the Netflix model. And then Iger said that he's like, we're going to raise the, I think it was going to go up to $17 or something like that.
Is it? Okay.
So, which is if you look at the percentage, that's a huge increase.
It is an increase.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, Netflix has been doing it. I remember when I first had Netflix was $7.99 a month.
Yeah.
Now it's up to $15.99 a month. But if you want the HD version, it's like $17 or $19.99 a month.
But the amount of content that's on Netflix versus Disney,
ad free.
Ad free. Yeah.
Like, in comparison to like the Hulus and the Paramounts and Peacocks. Totally ad free.
Yep.
There's no subscription. There's no ad subscription level to Netflix. Netflix are just outdoing everyone by just 100% being better than everyone else.
Yeah.
They just bully the competition.
Yeah.
It's too much content. They're buying the properties to all these animes right now. They just put out, in comparison to the other streaming service, they put out so much more content. The the catalog is huge.
So here's a question to our listeners and to yourself. Is Disney a family entertainment company? Now here's why I asked this question. What did they just purchase? What are they going after?
Disney.
They're trying to
What did they buy?
ESPN, right?
Yeah.
ESPN.
Yeah,
so what is ESPN? What are they into? Sports? What does sports bring you? Gambling. So they're getting into the gambling business.
So, I mean,
have you heard that?
I have not heard about the gambling aspect of it, but I did know they were going for and try to buy ESPN.
So what the other thing is that they're trying to figure out the approach where if you're buying, you bought Hulu, you're taking ESPN, and they're really banking on ESPN Plus, in that you are now getting into a whole different business model, as in you're now going to get into the gambling market. So people are kind of upset that Disney is no longer a family entertainment company. They're pivoting their whole business model. Maybe they're trying to expand. They're trying to see where the money's going to be. Is that a smart decision? I don't know. So priorities are changing. Fans are losing faith in the company that they grew up loving.
Yeah. I think now more than ever, we have access to the inner workings of these companies. Like 20 years ago, unless you were reading the Wall Street Journal or whatever, we didn't know about these acquisitions going on. So the majority of the casual fan had no idea that, ESPN was owned by Disney. So I think when you kind of like move that veil out of the way and give you a little bit more transparency, it makes you want to think and have to think about these things, but it's ignorance bliss.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, if the ESPN content stays the same and the Disney Plus content stays the same? Do we care if, Disney owns ESPN? Does it matter?
Well, it does if they're putting out terrible content.
and that's where the problem comes in, when they're putting out bullshit. And that's what's happening. But ESPN, I feel like the ESPN deal, if it were to go through, it's one of those things where you just let it, it's still going to be what ESPN is. We're not touching that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah.
What we said that about Disney as well.
Right?
We said that already.
Yeah. Same thing
about
with Marvel.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing was that I can't remember who was talking about this, but he's like, why is Disney so adamant about moving away from the Deadpools and Wolverines and taking these secondary superheroes, like, because they're trying to change. Why are they pulling Skywalker out? Why are they trying to bring in all these unknown supposed superheroes? They're trying to break all these legacies and change everything. And same thing with pirates.
But we can play devil's advocate with that too, because when Favreau did the first Iron Man movie, Iron Man was an obscure character at the time. So, and look what that turned into. It's like, I can see how, and also, by creating, it's obvious that Disney has no problem going in and changing source material,
right,
or change it to push whatever agenda they want to push. So I feel like it's a lot easier to do that with a obscure character that doesn't have a lot of source material or popular source material.
Yeah.
So
before Iron Man, what was the most popular superhero movies?
Batman.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
And Superman.
That's
it.
Yeah.
So, I could be wrong in this, but I feel like, Daredevil. Wasn't there a Daredevil movie before Iron Man came out?
Yeah, 100%. Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner. Yeah,
and it kind of never went anywhere. So it's like
it was a terrible fucking movie.
Terrible.
It was a horrible movie.
So it's like all the superhero movies outside of Batman and Superman were always flops until Iron Man, but they never tried to, why would you pick Daredevil of all things? Now I know it's on Netflix and it's pretty good. I think
it's great. Yeah.
Well, Punisher.
The Netflix one, all that stuff that they are bringing out, the Netflix MCU stuff, the Punisher, Daredevil, Luke Cage, all Iron Fist, whatever, Defenders, all that was good. But there's truth to that statement that Marvel had a hard time before Iron Man.
Yeah.
Getting a superhero property to stick on film.
Yeah.
So,
and was it the character Iron Man, or was it Favreau that did it? Because Favreau seems like everything Favreau does is money, gold.
And then the perfect casting.
Fix this camera.
Perfect casting, dude. Between just casting Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark was, there's no better fan casting, or not fan casting, but there's no better casting than, there's never been better casting in a superhero movie.
100%.
Never.
100%.
Ever. So, and they struck at a time where, now it's saturated. There's so much of it. Like, we're waiting for the next movie to come out. We've been spoiled by what Marvel or the MCU has given us up to this point. But back then, it was famine, and when he came, it was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So,
I was listening to, who was it? Sammy Hagar was interviewing Joe Elliott, the singer for Def Leppard, and they were talking about what made you a lasting band. And this draws parallel to the MCU. He's like, where we've lasted the longest, we didn't break up. He's like, our fans who were kids then are now adults who have kids themselves, and Def Leppard is resurging. Like, their tours were making more money than they did in the 80s and 90s.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, so we were kind of gone for a long time and struggling. He's like, but now the fans that have money, kids, are now introducing the bands, so they're getting more and more. So I wonder if Disney and Marvel is kind of the same thing, is as we're getting older and people have families, they're like, this is what I grew up on, the whole nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And I think some of it is definitely that. Like I think in geekdom itself, that we've never had a time to where adults were so deep into geek, whatever their geekdom is. Like Funko Pop, action figures, comic books, WWE memorabilia, whatever it makes, sneaker game. Like they push that on to their kids because that's all their kids know. You're a 5-year-old, you see dad. I mean, dad is like the greatest ever. So if dad likes something, you're gonna like it too. So, I see how that's something. Do you think that if after phase 3, if that original pack would have stayed together, that they would have changed as many things that they did if Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, and Jeremy Renner all stayed and say, hey, we're going to keep doing Avengers movies? Do you think Disney is making all these changes out of what they feel is necessity? Or do you believe that if that crew would have stayed, that they can be more hands off and let the actors and the directors kind of collaborate to continue success of what the MCU is right now?
Yeah, I think Disney I think if Disney corporate kept their hands out of it and let directors and writers and actors stay together and do their thing that was creating success that Iron Man did, it'd still be great. But because of the change now, because of their getting involved, and once we move into Deadpool, this will be more apparent, but everything was about their streaming service. We need to get in this storyline, this storyline, this storyline. We splinter the whole movie franchise so that we can promote our streaming service, so we can get all these shows and we can get all those fans to go that direction.
So you're saying that the movies that they're putting out right now are meant to be segues for the whatever can be spinoffs on 100%. The streaming platform.
100%.
Man, dude, and that would be sad too. That would be sad. Like the reason you make a movie should not be to continue a story or a spinoff story from that movie. Yeah. And I guess that's the problem.
Wasn't the whole thing with the multiverse? It's like they're trying to let's get into this multiverse and see how much we can change things so that we can make these other shows. And then those shows like Loki. Loki was I enjoyed watching Loki, but it was a mess.
Yeah, it was a mess. And I enjoyed, like, you would have been hard pressed to not like Loki because Loki has so much fanfare. Like it would have been hard not to like. Same thing with the Guardians we were talking about. You didn't particularly like the Guardians that much, but it had so much fanfare and so much love for that property. Like it would have been so hard for people to leave that movie theater and say, man, that was totally terrible.
Yeah. I will say this, if Guardians stayed the same cast, I'd go see it. I'd see Guardians 15.
over and over. Yeah.
100%.
There's no one that's done that except for Fast and the Furious. Yeah, there's nobody that's done it. You can say what you want about those movies, man. There's nobody who's made 10 movies.
Yeah.
And the people will still show up. I don't care if a Fast and Furious movie is out. If you're a movie buff, you're gonna go see it. Yeah, you're gonna go see it. And you know it's going to be ridiculous. You know it. You know it's going to be none of this shit is real. Like Dominic Toretto is essentially a superhero at this point. The dude can't die. He's immortal. The dude is immortal. So
I'll tell you, the last flight we were in Texas coming back, and American Airlines. One thing I like flying on American is they have really new movie releases on their flights. Yeah. So Marvel's was on there.
Oh, okay,
dude. I couldn't even get into 10 minutes into it. I was like, there was nothing else for me to do other than watch that movie. I turned it off.
You turned it off?
I couldn't get through it.
I'm going to go to sleep. Fuck this movie.
I was like, I played my dumb word game on my phone. I was like, dang. So,
but with that being said, have you seen Madam Web?
No.
Have you seen any of the previews for Madam Web?
I heard it's terrible.
They say it's worse than Morbius.
Morbius was so bad.
It was so bad. It's morbid. But at least Morbius has like a kind of like a cult following. Yeah. And Madam Web is one of those movies that they'll play on TBS every, you know, or on FX.
Yeah.
Every 3 or 4 months you'll see it and you'll watch it because, you know, it's good enough.
It's good enough, yeah.
You know, but people, I think it made some ridiculous, like, what was it, like 200 million? Oh, no, $25 million.
Oh, no.
It made $25 million opening weekend.
Wow.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
I made more than that. I can put some shit up on some random shit up on YouTube and make, but just in all seriousness, that's terrible.
Terrible.
That's terrible. So, and then, and you have like 2 of the biggest female it girls in the movie, and it still does nothing. And people, I haven't seen it yet. Heard reviews on it. Like, and when movies that I know and feel are going to be bad, I don't mind getting it spoiled. So I listen to all the critics and everybody who's watched it and all the spoiler reviews on it, and everyone says the same thing. It has no depth to it. They don't mention anything, and because these properties are still owned, some of them owned by Marvel, some of them owned by Sony, so they can't mention like Spider-Man or Peter Parker. They can't, you know, they can't do any of that, and he's not in a movie. Like Uncle Ben is in a movie, Aunt May are in the movie, but there's no reference to Peter Parker at all. There's no costume. Like none of the Spider Women in the movie have ever show up in costume, with the exception of one dream sequence. Yeah. So I was like, why'd you make this movie? Why'd you even make this movie? Like, and why did you go out of your way to make a Madam Web movie? There's so many other, even in the Spider-Man universe, just take Marvel out of it. Just in this, like the Spider-Man, between the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery and the Spider-Man hero and everybody that kind of coexist in that little region of the MCU or the Marvel universe, you could have done so many different movies. You could have done I mean, anyone from the Rose Gallery, you could have done a movie about them. They got the Craven movie coming out, so we know it can be done. Why'd you pick Madam Web to just give us another load of shit? That's what I was gonna say. but Sony's been known for that. Like you cannot take a Sony MC or a Marvel Sony movie seriously. You just can't. And it's terrible for movies like Venom, because Tom Hardy puts everything in the Venom. He goes in, and just watching that dude, like the behind the scenes stuff, he loves that character. He loves playing that character.
God, that's such a good franchise too, like Venom. Which could be.
Oh man, it could be so awesome, especially the stuff that they did later with the King in Black stuff. Like that stuff is awesome, man. And they just destroyed it.
Morbius, since you brought it up,
it's Morbin time. Morbin time.
Is it? If it wasn't for Jared Leto, I think I would have liked the movie.
Really?
Yeah, I think Jared Leto just...
You think he did it for you?
He overacts. I think he's a terrible actor.
He's not the best actor.
He's too over the top. The same thing with his Joker character. I'm like, that was terrible.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. With the exception of the Zack Snyder nightmare scene in Justice League. Yeah. Other than that, but also a lot of that, he is not a great actor. I'm not going to say that he's not a great actor, because I hate talking shit about actors, because I know it's a craft and you put a lot into it. But
not a right casting. That's all I'll say.
His performance was not great. And I don't know if it's because like what is shot and what comes out after post. You know, there's so many. Snyder Cut in itself. You know, Joss Whedon did it. Zack Snyder came and released the Snyder Cut, same movie, almost twice the time in black and white, and the movie does great. So, you know, it's all about how you edit these movies. That's why you have to have people that are going back to a couple podcasts ago, people who are fans of this stuff. Right. You gotta cut this stuff up in a way that the fans are gonna vibe with, man. And you need to shoot it in that way. You need to cut it in that way. And they're just not doing it, man. It's pretty bad. And kind of going back to the X-Men '97 thing, we talked about Morph a little bit. And this is where the negative stuff about X-Men 97 started to come out. So, and pushing the DEI agenda a little bit, Morph is non-binary in the show. And the fans are going, the casual fan, and no, I mean, I think they consider themselves hardcore fans, but the hardcore-ish / casual fans are up in arms about the fact that Morph is non-binary.
Yeah.
So, and there is, like, in the comic book, ever since the introduction of this character, Morph is, I mean, he's a shapeshifter. He can shift into any human form, male or female. He was non-binary. He's always been that way. And I think in a lot of the comic books or in the animated series, you can't draw and describe him as that, because back then in the 90s, non-binary was like not a thing,
right?
First of all,
right,
and second of all, the fan base or where it was directed, which was children, it would have been lost. Like, they don't know what the fuck that shit is. So, but the fans right now, if there was a negative review or negative prediction about X-Men 97, that was it.
Yeah.
Everything else was positive.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think it would be an issue if it wasn't so not polarizing, if it wasn't so pushed, like the whole Disney, like, we have to have this many people and this representing these so many things? Because I remember growing up and watching all these, and if it was non-binary then, like, I wouldn't know and I wouldn't care because it wasn't a thing that was pushed. And I don't think my parents would have cared either, because it wasn't like, we got to do this. We're telling you that this is what you need to believe.
Right. In. Yeah. And I think that's what's happening in a different form for sure. Like, by getting, again, everyone should be represented, but I feel like it should be in a way that makes sense for what we're consuming. You know, if we're watching a football game and and an ice skater just goes across the middle of the screen, it's like, no one dislikes ice skaters, but why the fuck are they here?
Why are they there? Yeah.
You know, so it has to make sense. You know, it has to be logical, and it's not. I feel like they're just like, like you said,
you're forcing it. Yeah. It's like, I remember watching the Saturday morning cartoons when they're like, when a bill becomes a law. Oh, and it's like all these educational things, and it was fun, and it was, and it was, I remember those things, and I remember watching like these different cartoons or different shows, and I could be wrong, but I remember everybody was represented, and I never saw anything, like, I never saw a problem with anything, but now that they're pointing it out, they're like, and that's my experience. So, like, maybe I grew up in an Eastern European family, so, like, I was different because I would speak a different language. My name was weird. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That was my thought on that. Like, you're pushing too much stuff.
Dude, they are. They are.
I think people as a whole are smart enough to know what right and wrong is, and just get back to entertainment, Disney.
Yeah, and also trust your fan base too.
Yes,
trust your fan base,
dude. That's
like, across the board. Some messages are going to be lost on people. Some people are going to get it. Some is going to go over a lot of people's head. Yeah. But it's not up to you. Yeah. It's like your job or what you came here for. The way you're making money is to put entertaining content out. And you're not doing that anymore. Yeah. Which I don't get it. I mean, I feel like it's, X's and O's, man. Yeah. It's easy.
Yeah. You know what? I think a guy that gets it, and I think this would be a good segue to get into it, is Wolverine. Like, freaking, oh my God.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds. I think because he's the director of the movie, right?
Mm-hmm. He's Levy is directing the movie, but he's co-directing, co-writing. They did everything as a team. Yeah, Reeves, Levy, and Reynolds.
Yeah, so I think Ryan Reynolds really gets it. I think he's one of the few guys in Hollywood that can speak up and say, hey, I trust the fans. This is what the fans want. This is what they like. Let's make a good movie. And no longer is it called Deadpool 3, but it's called what?
Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, it's easy stuff. This shit is real simple. You ever seen Any Given Sunday? Jim Brown plays the defensive coach. Like, this shit is real fucking simple. Man,
Yeah.
it is, and I mean, and that in itself. So now that some of the smoke has kind of subsided from everything that, you know, all the back and forth between Iger and that team, that crew of that Deadpool crew, and we're starting to get closer to the actual release date of the movie. Now people are really kind of getting excited about what it means. The Super Bowl trailer came out, so people were kind of able to see what the movie might be. You know, in a teaser trailer, they're not going to give you too much, but we saw obviously the TVA. There's going to be some connection to the TVA. The TVA is going to take Deadpool or Wade and kind of get him. And even when this movie was way back in the day, when this movie was teased, a lot of people thought that it was going to be Deadpool kills the Marvel universe, or the Marvel, for cinematic purposes, the Fox Marvel universe. Yeah. So, and it looks like we're going to get some of that. Yeah. So, and there's a bunch of variants. There's rumors that Daniel Radcliffe is going to be a Wolverine variant. Wow. Yeah, because it's a fan casting. One thing that Disney has done is they've been really open to casting the people that the fans, especially if there's a really strong urge from the fans to have these people in movies, they'll cast them. So, and when Hugh Jackman retired from the role, of course, a bunch of fan castings went out. Henry Cavill was one. Daniel Radcliffe. Those are like the two majors. Radcliffe and Cavill. So, but
Cavill recently signed on for Marvel, right?
Yeah, and there's a bunch of rumors for that too. There's rumors that he can play Sentry, that he can be Galactus, Captain Britain, which was a fan casting from way back in the day. So, I mean, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. But on the Deadpool side, the Deadpool movie could be Marvel's first billion-dollar movie since Endgame. Yeah.
They're gonna need it,
but but it's rated R, so you're gonna lose some fans with the R rating. Do you think there's gonna be a difference maker? Yeah. So you don't think it's gonna hit $1 billion?
I think the guy from WD Pro, he was talking about, a lot of people are like, don't change it. Iger is trying to make it PG-13, which makes sense from a financial standpoint, because you need to be able to put it in more theaters and have more people come and see it. Right. And then true fans are like, no, keep it rated R because we want all that. And so this guy, he's like, just make 2 versions. Just release 2 versions. Oh, like, why not just do that? Yeah. Here's the PG-13, here's the R version. Yep.
Fake blood, blood will be like, I don't know, yellow or shit. Shit. Take, some of the
So but I think and
that's another way to like get a bigger cash grab. Yeah, here's like release the PG-13 version. It's going to make money regardless, and then 2 months later, rated R version.
There it is. There it is. And now
double up on these fools.
And just to like bash on Iger more.
There's plenty of material. Yeah, plenty of material.
But Iger's like, I mean, you like, I'm sure everybody that's watching this, listening to this, has heard that he's not gonna let some of the content out. He's like, lock it in a vault and throw it away. Yeah. Like, why?
And Hugh Jackman is fuming because we talked about that the third act scene of him fighting a all-female version of the X-Men. We assume there's going to be a variant version of the X-Men, with a female Magneto, female Cyclops, and female Gambit. And he loses this fight, and the dialogue is not flattering at all. And Hugh Jackman is scared to death that this could still see the light of day. And, I mean, I hope not. Yeah. I hope not, man. They could. Yeah. And when you're in the theater and you're like sitting in front of the movie and you're eating your Reese's Pieces and your popcorn, whatever you're doing, and you're watching it, you're trying to enjoy it for what it is, and that there's something that's not right. Yeah. But you're at that point, you're not going to get up and leave the movie. Some people will, but I'm not. So
do you think? Like, I wonder if Disney has enough hold on these actors where they're just going to be like, I'm going to go to another place. Like, for instance, the Gina Carano thing, because that's now, since Elon Musk is like going after Disney with Gina Carano, like, and Gina Carano going over trying to make independent movies with who was it? The guy Ben Shapiro, like whatever that conservative more movies that they're trying to make, but will those people start to see that, oh, I still have opportunity to make these movies with another company?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there are outlets to make these movies. The Gina Carano thing in itself is crazy because, with Elon Musk financially backing that lawsuit, and a lot of people are conspiring. This theory is that he's trying to use his lawsuit to help weaken Disney to prep them for acquisition. Yeah. So, like, do it. Do it. Get it, Elon. Dude, everything Elon touches turn to money. So
yeah.
So let's go.
It's funny too. Like, Elon, this is personal. Like, it's personal for him.
I feel like everything is personal for Eli. Did he want to fight? What's the dude from Facebook? Mark Zuckerberg. They were supposed to fight and shit. How does it even come to that? Yeah. Both of you high asses are out of shape. You loaded. You haven't looked at a gym. Yep. Slim Jim maybe, but that's about it. But yeah, and then we know that you can rub Disney. Well, let me take it back. Can you rub Disney the wrong way and still have a successful career after that? Because I saw a Gina Carano movie.
Oh, you did see it?
I did see a Gina Carano movie.
Was it
after? It was the one with her and Cowboy Donald Cerrone. They're like on the planes.
Oh, the planes. Okay, that was the one. Yeah.
That movie was bullshit. Yeah. That movie was a piece of shit, dude. But it was also like a B movie. Like how good do you expect it to be?
And their budget was probably like
$17.
Seriously. Like, who is it talking? Like, the Marvel movies, their catering budget is what some of these other film people use for their entire budget. Like, seriously.
Dude, $9 million for the Deadpool ad. A 30-second ad. For the Super Bowl, $9 million. Yeah. A 30-second ad, an average, a 30-second ad at the Super Bowl, $7 million.
Yeah, there it is. That's a movie budget.
That's marketing. That's marketing. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. What's the movie that just came out and the budget was like super low and it did? The Thanksgiving one, the Thanksgiving Massacre thing that just came out over the holidays.
I don't know if I heard about that.
Like Killer Thanksgiving or whatever it was. These guys started off making indie films. Yeah. And now, I mean, I think they said they spent something like $5 million on that movie, and it went crazy. Yeah. So it can be done.
It can be done.
But not for the Marvel shit.
No.
Not for the comic book stuff. No. It's too CG driven.
Yep.
And that's the thing in itself. CG is so expensive. Yep. Like, there's a premium price on CGI right now. Yeah. So
one of our listeners actually commented on that in one of our episodes, where like CG, if they go back to I can't remember how he
practical effect.
Yeah, practical effect. Yeah. So
yeah. There's no way you can do that.
Yeah.
We've been spoiled by what we've seen. Yep. And even with the CG that you remember when Matrix Reloaded came out? Yep. How people were like, "Oh my God, this looks so cool!" When he's fighting all the agents, all the same agent, and there's like hundreds of them, and he's fighting them all. The CG back then, we're like, "Man, this is amazing." You look at that shit now, it looks like a bunch of Gumbies, fighting around. And so we've definitely come a long way, but there's no way you can have this content, these properties, and not have CGI. Yeah. There's no way.
No way.
No way. Man, what are we gonna do? I mean, we're gonna have to. They're too powerful. Yeah, Disney's too powerful.
Yeah. But maybe Elon will take him on. Maybe look at what he's done. If one guy can do it, he's the one.
It's him, man. It is him. On kind of like to start taking us off and getting throttling back a little bit. Have you seen the Donald Trump sneaker yet?
No.
Have you seen it? You haven't seen it?
No.
Yo, so
I gotta look it up.
Look it up real quick. So if you haven't seen Donald Trump release a sneaker, no matter, I mean, we're not going to talk politics. We're just going to talk about this thing because we don't get into that bullshit.
Even though Iger is.
Sneaker was released. Yeah, sneaker was released. It's like a high top. It almost looks like a version of a high top Adidas.
Oh my God.
Gold has the gold. These things are awesome.
My God, is that it right there?
Yep, that is it. That is it.
Oh man, I'm gonna just like hold this up to the camera. I don't know. I'll bring
Can you see that? Look at that. Look at those. Look at those. What are those? These things and now I don't know if it's true because a lot of these platforms and a lot of these marketing specialists, social media marketing specialists, they'll put stuff out. Like if you put something out, if I say, you know, these cupcakes are delicious, right? You're gonna want it just because I say it's delicious, right? Yeah. They said that $400 a pop.
Whoa.
Sold out.
What?
After 2 days. I don't know if that's true. It may be true, but they are fucking hideous.
It's like one of those.
I'm sorry, dude. Like, if listen, no matter your political affiliation, who you vote for, if some shit is whack, is whack. Yeah. You know, it is what it is. And these are, but people are gonna wear them. Oh, I mean, because I don't think Yeezys are that cool looking. Like my kids love Yeezys. Yeah, they love those things, especially the ones with like the shells. They look like the seashells. That's the ugliest shit I've ever seen in my life. But those things are like $250, $300, and when they hit the stores, people hit the stores. So them saying it's sold out, I'm not surprised. Yeah, but I don't 100% believe it.
It says Trump sneakers are not designed, manufactured, distributed, or sold by Donald J. Trump, the Trump organization, or any of their respective affiliates or principals. So somebody's just riding on.
Yeah, but he did walk out to a presser.
Oh, he did?
Carrying the shoe. Oh. So he's endorsing it.
Okay.
He's definitely endorsing it. So, man.
There was, it's interesting because it's like collectors will buy anything and they're like, this is going to be worth something. And just to kind of parallel this thing, there was a guitar that came out by, for those metal fans of like White Zombie or Rob Zombie or now Motley Crue. John 5 came out with his own Fender Telecaster, all white. And this thing was originally coming, it's not a custom shop guitar, it was a production model guitar. I think they only made 500 of them.
Really?
They were MSRP was $2,500 to $2,900. They were selling for $6,000 to $7,000.
Wow.
Damn. And yeah, dude, it's like crazy
money grab. So that was secondary market selling for that much.
Well, so now because there was pre-orders they were already all sold out, and stores, they're only sold through stores. Let me get this right. So they're only sold through stores. They were leaking them out because production was just really hard for them because they're all white. And so when stores got them, they held on to them and they just jacked the price up because supply and demand, supply super low, demand super high. So just like NVIDIA cards, you can MSRP these things for like $2,000, but you know, people are going to pay $6,000 for them. So that's what they're doing.
Wow, man. So, man,
but
that's a hell of a jump.
And here's the thing is they're falling apart.
Are they?
Paint is flaking off. So people are pissed. They're like, damn it.
Man. See? Yeah. You can't trust the interwebs, yo. Can't trust it. Man. Anything you got to take us out, bro?
No, it's good to be back.
Yes, it is.
We had a lot of stuff to cover today. Hope you all enjoyed this content. And I really love reading the comments, so keep giving some comments and feedback. We really enjoy reading them all.
Yes, so. We love reading the comments, and it's kind of one of the things I love, like the interaction. Yeah, we love, and we know that is all not going to be positive. We get that, sure. You know, it's the internet, so we get that. But I do love that you guys are enjoying the podcast on whatever scale you guys are enjoying it. So
and you
keep commenting,
and you care enough to write something, so that's cool. So appreciate it.
Very cool. Follow us on social media, Alpha Geek Podcast on Instagram. I'm Antoine the Juggernaut on Instagram. Taras is
Just not on Instagram really yet. But
he's on there. He don't post a lot though.
Yeah, I don't.
I post like 6 times a day.
Yeah.
So I'm always on that bit.
I'm busy on working on these camera switchers and the editing aspects of things. But we've been really busy at the studio. We've had a coach come in. We did do an interview on our other podcast, Life is a Dance with Wendy, where we interviewed this German ballroom, world-class ballroom dancer. And then the previous episode, if you look, we did an interview with Dimitra, who was a world American rhythm champion. And they got a lot of views on that. So we have retention viewerships on that. So
nice.
If you like our different interviews and stuff, let us know, write those comments. And I'm trying to convince Antoine to interview Keyshawn Davis.
Yeah, we're trying to get that Keyshawn Davis. If you don't watch boxing, Keyshawn Davis is probably the biggest up-and-comer in professional boxing right now. The dude is a absolute terror.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to get an interview with him. It'll be great if we can get him to come into the studio.
Oh, it'd
be awesome. Yeah. But we're going to try to make that happen. This weekend, the Sumo Speed car show is at Lansdowne Commons. So I'm going to head out there and get some footage and check out. I mean, when you talk about 4-cylinder, when you talk about drifting, this is the car show in Virginia and Hampton Roads to be at. So It's going to be packed. The weather's supposed to be pretty nice. So I'm going to go out and show y'all some stuff from some Sumo Speed. So
cool.
Should be cool. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. See you soon. Peace.
Peace.